Well, well, well.
Well. Chandler, hello. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Pop Apologists, our podcast we host together every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, everybody. And every Friday on Patreon. This morning, Lauren, we were on the phone and you teased multiple things that you could not share with me because of the podcast. And these were like mundane, I think daily life things, but you were holding on to them because you wanted to share them on the podcast. And I've kind of been dying to know what they are, what's been going on.
Medical breakthrough. I'm pregnant. No, just kidding. Okay. I don't know why I make that. I am so awkward about that. I'll actually talk more about what I just alluded to on Patreon, not to be annoying, but I don't know why I always make it weird, and always make jokes about that. But anyway, everyone, I do have some mundane daily things to share. And the discipline I show in our conversations is that frequently I hold back because I know that the listeners will want to hear these tales too. Okay. Or at least I think they will. You ready for the first one?
Let me just say, first of all, though, that it does hold our relationship back because it turns into us either talking about, really sensitive things that we can't talk about on the podcast at all, or extremely mundane things like, well, when are you going to ship my packages to me? When are you going to run your, export business so I can get my packages from you? It hurts our relationship. I'll say it.
It's actually very true. We can either talk about business things or just the super banal, but anything remotely interesting, I'm like, that has to be content. We need more content. Okay. So let's save the content for the show. Speaking of which, it was so funny. We posted a link to something on Instagram, and one of our listeners DM'd and they said, I really want this. Can we send it to Chandler and will she forward it to us? Which I thought was hilarious.
Wow. Screw you to whatever person sent that. I do not run an exports business. I do not want this trade. I do not want this cross to bear, but somehow it's where I've ended up. That is really funny, though. And no,
you
I
did
won't
send
ship
me a
it.
package today, and I did pay you $50 for your time. How much time did it take you?
Well, I didn't tell you this because I don't want you to think that this is the way things go, but there actually wasn't a line at the post office, shockingly.
Okay, so what was the total time for you?
Between finding the Amazon box that I was going to put your items in, like tearing off the label that was already on there, finding the tape in my house. I mean, it was a solid 25-minute ordeal.
Okay, so it's actually not that big of a deal to ask you to do this.
Well,
It's truly NBD.
No. This was an exceptionally good day because there was no line at the post office. Typically, there's about 15 people in line, and every single person is getting berated by postal office staff. And so, no, the rate stands. Just because today was a good day does not mean the rate needs to decrease.
Okay, well, good to know. I paid Chandler, everyone. So if you are firmly Team Chandler against her freight forwarder business for me, know that she's now becoming well compensated. I actually cannot believe, sorry now to derail, but I cannot believe I did that thing where the story we told where you went to like 2 different post offices for me to ship stuff. I didn't give you any extra money beyond what it cost. Like, I can't believe I did that.
No, I saw red. Like, I actually think I probably did text you several expletives, but I was so annoyed. It was the most annoying errand ever. I mean, just to quickly revisit that trauma, I went to a post office where there was at least 40 people in line on a weekend, everybody, on my weekend, on my hard-earned time off. And then when that post office was going to close and I knew I wasn't going to be able to, reach the cutoff and they would close and I wasn't going to mail you the package, I went to a UPS, which proceeded to have 12 people in line. It was a line out the door. It was a solid 3 hours out of my weekend.
Oh my gosh. And I cannot, I truly, anyway, I owe you dinner. I owe you a cocktail. I owe you a slap on the back next time I see you and a hearty thank you. Okay, but let me get to current travails. So everyone, I want to update you. I currently still don't have a working refrigerator. So we're on week 3 point something. So we're well into this experience of being refrigerator free or, large refrigerator free. I do have a small fridge, which I found last week. Super thrilled about that. So happy to have the found fridge. But other than that, Whirlpool is just, giving me the good old runaround. As everyone knows, I'm just, in a bleak place in my life right now. And yesterday, still refrigerator free. Last night, I hate to tell you, but it was like 6 p.m. and all of a sudden, all of the quiet buzzing, the white noise that fills all of our
Mm-hmm.
lives, which is our
Mm-hmm.
appliances humming. Okay, the lights even make a soft sound. I've now noticed. It all went dim. It all went eerily silent and eerily dark. Okay, because my
Yeah.
electricity went out.
Ugh.
Now, normally, what happens right after that, because this is a normal thing in Puerto Rico to have your electricity go out, is a gorgeous symphony of everything turning back on happens. It is just like everything is working in concert because our building has a generator.
Yeah.
Stunning. Anyway, I'll cut to the chase. Our generator was broken.
Oh
Okay.
no.
This
Sears?
has never happened before. So I called Mexico City. Anyway, very brutal. And so I, of course, started to panic. I started to freak out. For some
Yeah.
reason, I have in my head that, like, there's a statistic in my brain that you can't survive for longer than 3 days without electricity, or people don't.
Uh,
Have you ever heard
I think
that?
that's water. I think that's water you're getting it confused with.
Okay. Anyway, I think electricity is like a week. So for me, the situation
Sure.
was dire. I was looking at plane tickets to you. I was looking at, hotels,
What
Airbnbs on my phone.
quick
I still had
question.
cellular. Yeah.
Are you able to talk to the people in your building about what the prognosis is on the generator?
That is a great question. So I did go downstairs and there was a lot of furtive conversation happening in Spanish. And there really was only one person who spoke English, and she let me in on the fact that the generator wasn't working. So that was super
Okay.
helpful. So yeah.
Absolutely helpful.
So I called Kagan and I was complaining about this.
Yeah.
And I was just like kind of freaking out. And anyway, I'm like, do you think I can go to bed if I take a Xanax, like in a warm room, or do you think I should get a hotel? And he was like, no, just take a Xanax. You're going to be fine. And I'm like, okay. So I do. I like huff and puff. I get in bed. I'm in the worst mood.
Right. Well, remind
Yeah.
everybody how hot it is in Puerto Rico.
It's a solid 80 to 90 degrees every day,
Yeah. Yeah.
100% humidity. Okay. And so the rooms start warming up once the ACs stop working. That's
Right.
the science of it, okay? You don't need to go to MIT to know how this shit works, okay? So I'm going to be sweltering in my bed. And by the way, we sleep in 62 degrees with a mattress that cools itself, okay? So
Mattress isn't working either, I take it.
yeah, Chandler, that's electric. I also like, there's a lot of, it was a learning experience for me because I had to start thinking about, I was like, is the toilet run on electricity? Just trying to figure out what in my life will
Wait,
still work.
can you use the elevator or do you have to take the stairs?
No.
Right.
Well,
That's what I thought.
so most buildings in Puerto Rico, they have two generators, one for everyone's private like residences, and then the others for the common areas in the elevator.
Mm,
And they'll prioritize the common areas in the elevator for safety.
yeah.
And so the elevator was working, but I'm not going to go in the elevator during a
No.
crisis like this
No,
because
no,
for
no, no,
me, it's
no.
like I already have a home that's getting hot as balls. Okay. The last thing I need, like, life is already bleak. It's dark. It's 7 p.m. There's no light. But all the stuff in my mini fridge is going bad. The TV doesn't work. It's terrible. The last thing I need is to get stuck in the effing refrigerator when there's no
You mean
electricity.
elevator? You don't have a refrigerator, remember?
Oh yeah. Excuse me. Stuck in the refrigerator. That was gonna happen next with how my week is going. So anyway,
That would be a dream for you to get stuck in the refrigerator.
exactly. Oh my gosh, exactly. So anyway, I was such a princessa about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in bed and I'm just so irritated. Okay, I took my Xanax, whatever. So it's like
Can I
20
tell you
minutes
something
in.
really quick? Really
Yeah.
quick. We were texting last night and you told me that your power was out.
Yeah.
And I was going to call you, but I was like, I know she's going to be in a foul mood. And I've dealt with like 4 phone calls in the most recent week with you being in a bad mood where nothing I say is helpful. And I
Yeah.
just decided to not. I was like, she's good.
Well,
If she's in a real crisis, she could call me.
no, I literally was in the worst mood and I went to bed, and 20 minutes in, all the humming starts, the lights come on in my bedroom. Anyway, apparently they were able to call the technician and he was able to manually start the
Wow.
generator. I learned that this morning. So
Oh my gosh. See, I didn't even need to. Ugh, I am so happy that all worked out for you and I had to do nothing extra to help you last night.
all is well that ends well, my sister, truly. Also, I have another little tale
Okay.
that will be very brief, but something gorgeous happened to me today. Stunning. Okay, you ready for
What?
this?
Yeah.
I am now a CrossFit girly. I love it. I'm obsessed. What?
Really?
Why are you shaking your
I
head?
I'm not shaking my head. I'm befuddled, baffled. This is not where what I saw happening for you. I thought you'd be too afraid to do CrossFit, like you'd get injured or break a
Yeah,
tooth.
so it's very interesting. Well, actually, one of the intrusive thoughts that happens all the time. I have intrusive thoughts constantly. So like
We
Kagan
know.
wasn't here yesterday. I was on my walking treadmill. I heard a noise and my brain went, this could be the scariest moment of your life. Like like
Like full
literally.
narrator.
Just full narrator. I walk around the CrossFit gym this morning. Intrusive thought. This is where you might become a quadriplegic. Like literally.
I
Literally.
I know your brain because I have the same brain. 10 minutes ago, someone knocked on my door, and I thought, what if someone shoots me live on this recording and Lauren witnesses the whole thing? Somebody knocked on my door.
I mean, that
Anyway,
would be good. That would be good for the YouTube, which we
for
do need to
content.
grow. Um, so anyway, so I'm at the gym, I work out, I do my workout. I'll debrief on that another time on why I love CrossFit. But
You have done
at
it
the end,
once.
I've done it 3 times now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I've done it 3 times. I'm going
Mhm.
tomorrow. So anyway, I'm cleaning my bar, whatever, whatever. And the guy next to me is like, strikes up conversation. He's like,
Mm,
are you new to the gym? And I'm like, he's
yeah.
like, where are you from? How long have you lived in Puerto Rico? He's just asking me all these like extra
Yeah.
questions,
Yeah. You have your ring
And
on?
no, I'm working out.
Right. Well,
So
you don't value your marriage, one or
I
the other.
I proceed, Chandler, to skedaddle out of the gym and call Kagan immediately. And I was like, you will not believe what just happened to me. You
Right,
will
right. Yeah.
not believe it. I was like, yesterday was terrible, but this ship has completely turned around. I was like,
Mhm. Mhm.
a guy just tried to pick me up at the gym
Yeah.
completely. Okay.
Yeah.
She still got it. I was
Right.
so excited. I was like, literally, I'm like, I feel alive again. I was so happy.
Ugh. Nothing
He's like,
feels
okay,
better.
chill out, chill out.
Did this
Anyway,
man actually like, initiate hanging out or are you just reading into someone being polite?
this man did not actually ask me out, but I'm 100% sure that he was on the road to doing that. If I hadn't escaped the live questioning he was doing.
Are you going to get some type of ring to wear next time to protect your
Chandler,
marriage or what?
why would I do that? I have such a little joy left in my life right now.
It's
Why
true.
on earth would I deprive myself of the gorgeous experience of feeling desired? Okay, and then I get to tell my
Yeah,
husband all about it.
exactly.
Yeah,
Ugh, I'm really happy for you. It sounds like you have a new
thank
lease on
you.
life.
I truly
Um,
do.
I rounded the corner this morning and a man sitting in a walker said to me, "Hey baby." And I fucking loved it. I literally loved it. I ate it up. I There was a spring in my step after. I loved it. And I don't yeah, I don't I think that might be the way he greets everyone. I'm not saying he was trying to pick up on me, but I love being called "Hey baby" in the street. Whatever. Sorry.
Honestly, I will take it wherever I can get it at this point.
Yeah,
Okay? If
it's true.
a cat call, a honk, give it to me. Please.
Mhm. Mhm.
What else is going on with you?
Nothing. Really nothing. Last night we were mid watching a show and Ben was like, "Hey, can we pause the show really quick?" And I was like, "You thought it was going to be a 10-second intermission?" And it turns out he wanted to just go over money spent last month so we could then, reset
No.
money to be spent this month.
Oh my
I'm not even
gosh.
going to belabor this story, but it's just like next time I want a heads up. Next time I want, hey, when you think you're going to be relaxing tonight, it's actually going to be a cross examination.
No,
And he was nice
that's
about
actually
it. It
cruel.
wasn't a fight, but yeah, it was cruel. I think it was just like hey, can we pause the show really quick? No.
That needs to be a conversation that doesn't happen. That's my advice. Is I was going to say put it on the calendar, but then it's like, what would be better than that? Just not having that conversation at all.
Literally not doing it at all. Yeah, but, aside from that annoying interlude, everything's good. I've been having several meetings with my wedding planner. I'm feeling so excited. It's been really nice since hiring my wedding planner to, like, only I mean, I'm still nervous and stressed for sure, but now it's more like I just get asked questions about what I want, more so than just,
Mhm.
like, having to think about what I want and then handle all of the minutia and, details of that. So I'm feeling really excited.
No, I think that, we kind of went back and forth because a wedding planner is a really big investment, especially in New York.
Mhm.
And we went back and forth on whether you were going to do it. And I'm so glad you're doing it because instead of it being like you need someone who you can say, "Oh, I'm thinking about this." And they can say, "Okay, well, this is how it's feasible. This is the vendor.
Mhm.
This is who
Right.
we'd look at." Like, or it's not feasible at all. And if you don't have those filters, it's just you and Google. That's it.
Uh,
Google. That's
and
all you got.
and it's so helpful because we've already been able to sort of like narrow down things that we were like, yeah, we absolutely need that, to actually we don't need it at all. And so yeah, there's a lot of expertise that we're like paying for, and it feels like money very well spent. So anyway, that's all.
Yes, absolutely. A quick note before we move on to celebrity topics. Can we talk about the video we got of mom and dad? So, mom sent us a video from her and dad's Europe trip
Hmm.
where they were in a taxi, okay? And they were going to Costco because they decided that in Switzerland, the best place to eat would be the local Costco.
Hmm.
And anyway, I just want to share that when I first got this video, I was convinced because it was clear that it was them with an Uber driver. I
Yeah.
was convinced it was going to be mom terrorizing the Uber driver
Right. Of course.
because I had the experience when mom and I went to Ireland for my senior trip with my choir, okay, with the honor choir I was a part of to Ireland. Um
Dork. Now I get why that guy called us dorky, because Lauren brought up honor choir.
pretty embarrassing because on that entire trip, I'm still traumatized and I relived that trauma when I saw the video because mom would ask every Uber driver in Ireland if they'd ever had Lucky Charms cereal. Every single Uber driver. And it was just like every time, "Oh, have you ever had Lucky Charms?" And anyway, I was convinced that that's what that video was going to be. Mom, terrorizing some poor Swiss Uber driver. Thankfully, it was not. Thankfully, it was just them agreeing to a very long drive to a Costco for lunch.
Yeah, mom's a prankster. And yeah, I mean, it's like when she says, like, they'll ask if we're having wine or something at the table, and she'll say, "Oh no, she just got out of rehab," and like points to me. Like, she just loves those moments. She can't help herself, and it makes me cringe, die. It was funny the first time, but yeah, she can't help herself.
Well, it's funny too because all of mom's jokes like aren't politically correct and they're
Mm-mm.
cancelable and they're
Hmm.
problematic, like deeply problematic now.
Yeah, yeah.
But she's really not on that wavelength. And
Mm-mm.
so she doesn't know this at all.
Oh,
And so
she
sometimes when
knows. She
she said,
doesn't care. She
yeah,
knows.
that's probably true. That's probably true. She's so based, that bitch. Okay.
Wait, I actually do have a funny story. Really
Yeah.
quick. One last funny story. So I've been having so obviously Courtney's family lives here now, and I've been having sleepovers with each of the kids. Like Ben and I will like take one of the kids for like a special auntie and uncle night, and we'll like do whatever they want, have whatever dinner they want. I'll take them to CVS. They get to pick out as many treats as they want. Anyway, just like spoiling them and getting a little bit of like one-on-one time. So the last two sleepovers have been with the twins, who are pretty young, who are like 5. I think they're 5, yeah, or about to be 5. Anyway, I have never gotten so many microaggressions about how small my apartment is until they stepped foot in it. Can I just say that our nephew Sammy, when he came over, he'd been here for, about 12 hours, and he all of a sudden kind of looked around and he said, "Coco, there's not so many rooms here." Yeah, Sammy, there's not so many rooms here. There's only 2, our bedroom and our kitchen. And then Lily, our other niece, said to me while using our bathroom, pretty rude house guest behavior. She looks around the bathroom and she says, "This is a really small room." And then she says, "Why don't you have an upstairs?"
That honestly is a great question. Why don't you have an upstairs, Chandler?
Anyway, so yeah,
You should have
they don't
said,
know the
"Why do you
value
live
of a
in?"
dollar.
You should say, "Because I live in Manhattan and you live in Brooklyn, bitch." That's what you should have said.
Honestly.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, really quick, I just want to say something. I was listening to Lola Kent's podcast. This is a very brief aside. She said on her podcast, someone asked her if she got pregnant for a storyline, and
Mm.
she said no. But she said that she thinks that Kyle and Mauricio's separation is for a storyline.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. Pretty brazen, pretty bold.
It's like, no, I didn't, but you know who did?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't believe that.
Well, I here's what I think about it. I think that it's highly potential that the breakup is not for a storyline, but the rollout was
Oh,
done
yes.
to work well with filming both shows.
Completely agree. I completely agree that that was orchestrated to really like make the season more juicy. But I don't think that Kyle is faking her disdain for Mauricio in any of those scenes.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Okay, actually, let's just get to this. But before we do, I want to talk about J Lo. I want to talk about Ben Affleck and
Hmm. Hmm.
the kiss, the cheek kiss we saw. But before we get to dissecting that body language, Chandler, can we share the joy that is clean, simple eats?
I mean, the deliciousness. I'll tell you what, Lauren, today, right before this recording, I knew I needed a little bit more protein. The lunch I had was, a little lighter, and I wasn't really super hungry. So I made myself a quick protein chocolate milk, which is something I've been loving. I do a half a cup of Fairlife milk, which has a little bit more protein to it. And then I do a full scoop of chocolate brownie batter, clean, simple eats. It's so good. It's so quick. It's delicious. It's just like, it's the perfect little protein, like snack or meal replacement for your day.
I love the Simply Vanilla mixed with orange juice and water and ice, or milk even. That'll taste like a gorgeous orange sickle smoothie or an orange Julius. You guys, these protein powders, they're so phenomenal because they have clean grass-fed ingredients and they taste perfect. They truly taste. I think you could blend the protein powder in cold water and it would taste like melted ice cream. I'm not kidding you.
No, they're fantastic. And, they've been a sponsor for a long time. We've been drinking Clean Simple Eats since college. And I just keep finding new uses for their protein powders and all their other products because I love it so much and it tastes phenomenal.
Go to cleansimpleeats.com, use code POPApologist for 10% off. Start with the Simply Vanilla or the chocolate brownie powder. You cannot go wrong. Cleansimpleeats.com, code POPApologist for 10% off. Okay, so let's get to the topic at hand, Chandler, which is Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez in their marriage, okay, which we have a new development on weekly. So J-Lo and Ben Affleck deliberately avoided locking lips in public when they met up in Santa Monica, California on Sunday for his 12-year-old son Samuel's basketball game. The whole family was there, including Ben's mother and Jennifer Garner. This happened, everyone, following J-Lo's recent decision to cancel her This Is Me live summer tour to
Mm.
focus on her personal life. The quote is Jennifer is taking time off to be with her children, family, and close friends. Jennifer also shared that she was heartsick and devastated, telling fans, please know that I wouldn't do this if I didn't feel that it was absolutely necessary. The unexpected career move may be related to the speculation that she and Ben are on the brink of divorce. Did you see the photos?
Of the kiss? Of the air kiss?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I absolutely did. This is what I'm
I
going to
have
say.
so much to say. Please.
Well, I don't think I've ever done an air kiss with Ben. Have you ever done an air kiss with Kagan?
That's what I was going to say. Never. I
It's
first of all, I don't
either,
really do that with I don't when I see Wyatt, I don't do an air kiss. I'm not European
yeah,
that
that's
way.
not, yeah, we're not, that's not typically our style. But even if I'm greeting somebody or if I'm greeting my significant other, it's either a hug or it's a full kiss. There's really no in between, in my opinion.
I completely agree. The body language to me gives we're in a fight and we are not speaking.
Hmm. Yeah.
This is full we know that we're being seen in public right now and we're trying to make things seem
Yes.
okay, but
Yeah.
we're not going to do a kiss. And I'm sorry, you just
It
don't air kiss your partner. You don't do the cheek kiss.
it almost would have been like more intimate if they had like hugged.
Honestly, it truly seemed like they could have been coworkers. It was
Hmm.
so
She would could have been a
incredibly,
sister.
yes, a sister-in-law, someone he was just meeting. There was something so pointed about this Ericus. The other thing I'll say is that Heather McDonald on her podcast, she said, I think that they canceled the tour because of poor ticket sales. And this
Yeah.
entire breakup has been like a conspiracy or something that they planted to give her an excuse essentially to quit the tour.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think that's pretty extreme to do if you're going to make up a whole storyline about your marriage. I don't know. I know celebrities get up to all sorts of things, but that seems pretty crazy to, just be embarrassed about your ticket sales to the point of inducing divorce rumors and staging like awkward air kisses.
Well, it certainly seems extreme to me because I mean, remember when Adele canceled her Vegas tour? Because I
Yeah.
think she was like literally dick whipped at that time. Like she was like dating her now boyfriend, and
Yeah.
something that was the theory back then as to why she canceled it. But I just feel like I don't remember there being all this hate and aggression towards Adele. Like I don't even feel like it kind of like, yeah, people were bummed, but I don't think she lost really any fans. I don't think she lost any like
No.
charting. She's not less of a star now. There doesn't seem to be like that major of repercussions from canceling a tour like this.
I mean, I think Justin Bieber canceled his tour for like mental health reasons. I just think there's a lot of other, non our marriage is in trouble reasons where people are like, yeah, we get it. You
Mm,
didn't want to do a world tour. You didn't want to do a stadium tour for 6 months. Yeah, she could have said she was anxious. She was
right,
exhausted. Like there's
right.
so many other things where it's like, yeah, we get it.
Mhm. Yeah, she could have had like she could have made up a health issue. I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of things that you could do. I mean, especially like J-Lo's in her 50s. Like she could have made up anything. And I feel like having the public think your marriage is on the rocks, that just to me is not something I would want, especially if I was,
No.
addicted to fame like J-Lo. I mean, also, like, if I had a husband and everyone was already suspicious of our marriage because he had the
Mhm.
worst resting bitch face in the world and looked like he was completely miserable on our honeymoon, and just every time we're together, he looks like he's in the depths of hell in paparazzi photos. I would not, if I was going to use this as if I needed an excuse, I would be like, well, let's validate what everyone is already saying that our
Yeah.
relationship is like, BS or it's never going to work out. I would never want to give the haters that.
Right, right. I think about how the source close to Ben Affleck said a couple weeks ago when this rumor was swirling around, the source said that Ben, had come to his senses. And I think, oh, wow, that's
Right.
like a pretty crazy thing to have a source say. That to me doesn't feel like something planted or orchestrated. You would never have
That's actually
someone say that if you both of you were on the same page. That's terrible.
well, okay, Chandler, that's such an astute point, and I a little bit have the chills right now. I have mini chills
Wow.
because I feel like there's no way that wouldn't be the spin. Like if it was about her
Mhm.
trying to cover for her canceling her tour, it would be something that's more like, I don't know. Ben's just more in love with me than ever and needs a ton of sex right now. And so I just have to devote myself to my husband. Like it would never be what's currently going on, which is he's finally come to his senses about
Yes.
this relationship.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. That's absolutely correct. Also, can I say, I'm sorry, I just love that celebrities like cancel major jobs, major engagements and obligations and responsibilities with excuses like Jennifer is taking time to be with her children, family, and close friends. Like, imagine if one of our listeners called into their project manager job at Microsoft or wherever, called into the fire station, called into the ICU, and was just like, "Hey, so sorry, I'm not going to make it today. I'm going to be spending time instead with my close friends, my
Well,
family, and my loved ones."
I'm sorry,
What?
the close friends part of all this is like the biggest eye roll. Okay, so you can go get like chips and salsa and margaritas with like your girlfriends more. Just leave off the close friends part. Your close friends are good. They're
Right.
okay if you go on tour.
The close friends part, literally, it should have. Chandler, you honestly, the lights are on upstairs right now. That's absolutely the case. If she had just said she's taking the time to spend with her family, it would have been like, oh my God, like what is happening? She needs to be with
Mm-hmm.
her family. Chandler, you were so right. The close friends, that's the smoking gun. And you figured it
Mm-hmm.
out. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. What's next? What else do you have for me?
I want to talk about Gwyneth Paltrow because
Yes.
before we get to the Kardashians, we need to talk about something. We need to hold hands as sisters
Mm-hmm.
because you guys, we genuinely think and believe that GP, I mean, should we even say this or should we save it for the, paywalled content for a
Do you
smaller
think she's
audience?
listening? Why would we
I
care?
don't Okay, that's a good point. So we think that Gwyneth has recently had a facelift, and the reason we think that is because if you go look on the Instagram account, Oh My Cream, which is like this French lotion store essentially. What would you call it, Chandler?
Apothecary? I don't know. Is that where
I don't know. They sell all sorts of like concoctions
lotions
for
and
your
potions? A
skin,
pharmacy?
lotions and
French pharmacy?
potions. No, it's like a cute. Anyway, who cares? It's called Oh My Cream. Anyway, she did a collaboration with them, and she looks very different from all the videos they have, like previous videos they have of her on her feed, of videos on her feed. Like it's definitely things are pulled, things are tighter. It's a new Gwyneth. It's Gwyneth 2.0. And we don't begrudge a facelift. We don't begrudge getting work done. I think you and I both plan for that on the roadmap of our life. Maybe a few.
Sure.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, it
You've already
depends on
had
how many
one?
trips to Guana Island I go to, how many I'll need, how much time I spend in the sun. But yeah, I've already had. I'm actually on my first facelift already. Thanks for pointing that out, Chandler. No, but I think that it's actually very interesting because Gwyneth has taken a very au naturel approach to aging
Mhm.
compared to a lot of celebrities. She's embraced sun damage. She's has not ostensibly, up until now had her eyes done. She just looks she's had very minimal Botox. She looks way
Yeah.
more natural than a lot of celebrities.
Mhm.
Almost to the point where it's been kind of interesting to see people's reaction to her because we're so used to like Nicole Kidman's and
Yeah.
J-Lo's
Right.
and
Right.
celebrities that have really done everything to preserve, that when you see a celebrity going more in the way of God's plan for them, like people have not reacted well to it. Anyway, we wanted to chat about it because I feel like it's been interesting as women that like look up to her and really love her to see this development.
Well, I think we think she's beautiful, drop dead gorgeous. And truly, I feel that way about her like all the time throughout all of the stages of her life. Like I just think she looks amazing. She has like aspirational level beauty to me.
Mhm.
So I think knowing that she, has been sort of outspoken or at least been honest about, or, I think she's been honest at least about taking a more minimal approach to all these things. We've kind of enjoyed that and been like, wow, it's, there's hope.
Right.
And
Like you don't have to go in the way of Lisa Rinna
yeah,
and I don't know. You don't
and
have to like yeah.
and there's absolutely a range of celebrities and the work that they're having done. Not every single person is going all natural or going minimal. Not every single person is, looking like maybe a Lisa Rinna or something, just really doing the most to their face. But with that, I think we've just kind of been like watching her every move, or at least we're paying
Mhm.
close attention because yeah, we're into it for that reason. And so when you sent me this video, I also fully noticed like her face looking like more snatched, if you will, and not snatched in a thin way, but snatched in like it looked like, there was tight ropes pulling different angles of her face up. But
Mhm.
what's
Right.
weird to me is that I don't feel like I noticed this in the most recent photos of her at Moses's graduation. Were those just too far away or what?
I think you just couldn't tell in those photos because they were too far
Mhm.
away. But yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation. I remember Lauren Santo Domingo went on Aaron and Sarah Foster's podcast, and she said she had conversations with Gwyneth about how, like, Gwyneth was very much like aging in a natural way compared to a lot of people.
Mhm.
And she said, like, when you do that, you give other women a feeling of permission, and empowerment. And maybe that sounds shallow and dumb, but I think when you do see someone like Gwyneth who is in the lights and who chooses and embraces a more natural vibe, I think it actually is inspiring. And it is like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, like you can just accept yourself and have like more of a natural vibe. And you don't have to always be like trying so hard. And so, to
Mhm.
be honest, I think as someone that like has kind of like looked up to that, it's just been like, oh, like it's just been a little bit like reorienting, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all on this planet hurling through space and time together and trying to understand how to look as hot as possible for as long as possible. And so yeah, there's been some reorienting happening. I still love her. I mean, I also just think there are like a lot of people who get facelifts, and it's, I think
Oh,
that we just see the extremes in reality TV or whatever, but there's a lot of people who do want to like look they don't want to look like the 20-year-old version of themselves, but they want to look the best that they can, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it's also not just a procedure reserved for celebrities. Like, it's a procedure
Yeah.
normal women get all the time, especially in their 50s and 60s. So, I think that it's totally normal. But yeah, anyway, I just thought it was interesting to know given all the plastic surgery talk and all like the stuff we talk about on the pod.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting too to see if she ever acknowledges it.
It'll be interesting to see if she ever acknowledges it or if she ever outright denies it. All that
Mhm.
stuff is
Yeah,
interesting to me.
right. Speaking of people, just blatantly denying plastic surgery, can we talk about the Kardashians?
Let's. Okay, so I told you to watch the newest season of The
You
Kardashians
did. You did.
and dying for your thoughts because I have many.
Well, let's start with your thoughts because I have thoughts. I'm a little like I have plenty to chat about with when it comes to each member of the family, but I'm once again feeling the same like boredom with the like here's the scene of Chloe and Kylie sneaking over to sneak up on Kris Jenner. Anyway, so
That's true. There's plenty of filler content in this season, but I will say I am finding it entertaining. I'm actually finding it enjoyable to watch. I think there's enough tidbits and behind the scenes conversations that are just super hilarious.
mhm.
There's just a few moments also where like you see Kris Jenner being Kris Jenner and you
Mhm.
see just like I don't know, you just get a peek into their lives which are truly so unique. The one of my favorite moments, it's this moment where it really reveals a dynamic, is Kris goes over to Scott's house with friends and they're going to,
Mhm.
watch Kim on what was it? American Horror Story or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So they're going to watch that and anyway, they all come over and all the friends are at the table and someone like says, "Oh, maybe we should have a drink first or something." And Scott's like, let's have a drink." And Kris turns to Scott and she goes, "Okay, make your friends a drink." Like she literally moms him. Did you notice that?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I just thought it was such an interesting moment because he was like, "Hello, there are like staff here. There are people that can help people. Like, I don't need to get up and bartend right now, but thank you, Kris." She literally just like totally moms him. She's like, make your friends a drink." I just thought it, I thought that's so interesting because I know that Kris Jenner really raised those girls with a very specific standard in terms of like, you're
Mhm.
going to keep your home looking this way. You're going
Right.
to offer guests this type of thing. You're going to have a
Uh-huh.
candle lit. You're gonna have something baking. You're like I remember hearing that Kim Kardashian like baked something for Nick Lachey when they went on their first date. Like those girls were I feel like were just like trained by Kris Jenner to be like consummate like pleasing hosts and like
Yeah.
super polite. And
Right.
so it was just funny to watch Kris go into full mom mode with Scott.
Well, I thought it was funny when later on in the episode she spills a little bit of red wine on his couch, and then you see her kind of freaking out about it, and she goes and she voice texts, I'm sure, an assistant. She's like, "Can you send someone over to Scott's house tomorrow to clean his couch?" And then Scott's like, "I'm gonna get a new couch out of this or something." And she's like, "This is gonna cost me $20,000, which is how much couches cost, Kris Jenner. It was yeah, I loved that. I love those little tiny moments where you really see, yeah, exactly what you're saying. You just see them being normal or just like their interactions. That to me is what it's like worth getting through all the filler content to see those moments, even when Chloe and her are joking about foot fetishes or something. And Chloe's like, I could sell pictures of my feet on OnlyFans. And Chris is like, well, will I still get 10%? I think there's a degree of like hijinks they like to have with like the filler content, and that
Mm.
to me always feels really contrived. What I like to see is, I don't know, just like the more almost like mundane moments or just like them interacting normally with each other versus like this is what we're doing on this episode.
Exactly. It's like the actual interactions in the day to day and the fact that, unlike normal people who would go to the counter, get a rag, start scrubbing someone's couch, like apologizing profusely, it's just like for them, it's like, let me just voice memo my assistant to handle this tomorrow. Problem
Mm-hmm.
solved. We'll move on with the night. Like it's
Right.
little things like that that just are really fascinating to peek into. You posted about this on Instagram, but it was also hilarious because Chloe was talking about how exhausting it is to be a mom, right? And she's like, you make the lunches and you do the cute things, and it's just like the same thing day in and day out. and she was having a conversation with Courtney where she was like, I don't have like overnight nannies right now. Like I don't have someone staying here
Right.
full time. She didn't say overnight nannies. She just said, I don't have anyone here all the time. It's just
Well,
me. And it was so funny. Courtney's like, you mean like you don't have someone staying the night? Like no one's here overnight. And that's what
yeah,
she meant. Like
right.
that to her was like single mother, no help, essentially, was not
Mhm,
having
mhm.
also someone there like in the middle of the night in case the kids needed
Right.
something. Also, wasn't it just so funny? Because it's like, I adore Chloe, but like you have a housekeeper, you have a house manager, you have a personal assistant, you have everything handled. Someone has stocked your fridge and your cabinets for the
Mhm.
lunches you're going to make. And then once you're done
Right.
making the lunch, someone else is going to clean up after you. You also most likely could just have a chef make the lunch. So it's like, it's just funny
Y
when I think that I don't know, Chloe like bemoaning the trials and tribulations of being like a hardworking single mom. It was just a little funny to me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that, yeah, her reality or her busy reality as a mom is very different from a lot of other busy moms' reality. Okay, one other moment though I wanted to touch on because this actually gave me, new adoration or it made me like this Kardashian a lot more. When Kendall is in her confessional, her interview, and she's talking about how she goes, I know I'm the most boring sibling. And then they did like a super cut of her just like only ever talking about like her horse or her anxiety. And I thought it was kind of amazing. It was like I appreciated that like self-awareness from her.
No, she was totally self-aware. And I feel like the funny thing about Kendall and about Kylie, and I'm wondering if you have ever thought about this, but I wondered, like, is there any part of Kim or Chloe or Courtney that resents the fact that Kendall and Kylie basically just never had to show up and do the really shitty brand partnerships with some car dealership, like work at Dash, just like
Mhm.
do a sex tape. Like the first generation really put in the hard yards. So the second generation on some level could just coast through in
Coast.
comparison.
1,000%. 1,000%. I mean, Kylie Jenner is totally a mogul and is successful because of a lot of her own talents, but she would not be the Kylie Jenner we know without the three siblings before her, four siblings, I guess.
I actually would push back on that a little bit because like
Would you?
I mean, what is Kylie Jenner's talent? Like getting lip
I
filler
mean,
and having like a brand a team create like a lip kit?
Kylie, I think has so much more. Like, I think she actually was one of the first people to be doing like beauty stuff, like really engaging with her audience. Like, I don't have a PhD, I guess, in Kylie cosmetics, but I think she really like she became super successful through her like early cosmetics debuts, and I think she been talented at that. I mean, I don't
Interesting.
know, like I don't yeah, once again, I don't have a PhD in Kylie Jenner, but I do think she's like talented, and I think her like makeup lines took off, and I think she was like also one of the first people to do like limited drops or something. She just like monetized it really well. And I mean, I don't remember like before that like Dash wasn't like a super successful business or whatever. It's not like I think Kylie was one of the first Jenner Kardashian siblings to be like a super duper successful businesswoman.
I mean, but don't you think like just us talking very frankly with each other, that was just the result of like her having and being able to afford, like, first of all, she already has a huge platform, and then she just has like the best of the best working for her. Like I highly doubt Kylie Jenner came up with drops, like limited drops, you know what I mean? I highly doubt she's like the business genius behind that.
I just actually I used to think that she was totally like pointless, and I just don't think that anymore. Like I actually think she's super fun and likable, and I think she brings something to the table that I guess if I'm comparing her to Kendall, I don't think Kendall does. And I think that she built a ton of success for herself with of course then there was a lot more capital because of the, siblings before them. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, Kylie Cosmetics was huge also when it like was on this when it was first on the scene.
For
Like I
sure. For
think she did a
sure.
really good job. I don't know. I don't have numbers on it, but like comparing it to I guess some of the other siblings products and their attempts
Yeah.
at like lines, it's way more successful
I
than like a
agree,
lot of
but
their other stuff.
I don't know. I just kind of really question though how much of that is like honestly luck. And it's like just
I mean,
I,
I don't
I'm
know.
just
I
like
mean,
very
I I'm sure that Kendall had the same like access to business people and access to capital for 818 like Kylie did for other stuff. But I just think Kylie's just been way more successful. And I don't think that can all be attributed to luck. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a
Interesting.
Kylie apologist now.
Yeah, I guess so.
I want to talk about Kim's working too hard storyline. I'm so over it. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's making me like annoyed with her. And I don't know. Maybe it's like my own guilt about not being a hard worker, but I'm over it.
To be honest, I feel incredibly put off. And I feel like by Kim and that entire storyline, and to be honest, like that entire mentality. Like the
Yes.
entire mentality of like, I already have so much and I want more, 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 more. Like
Mm-hmm.
the kind of like greed that seems to characterize her life. To me, it's actually seems like there's like a true emptiness. And maybe not. She works really hard. She goes to law school. Like she has a whole thing she does that's just for the good of other people and people like falsely imprisoned. So that's super admirable. But yeah, I don't know. The whole like, I just want to like work till I drop and make as much money as possible side of her. To be honest with you, I'm like as off put by it as Courtney.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, the idea that I would be at the level that Kim Kardashian is at, and I would still be making myself like fly to Paris for 12 hours, then back to New York or Atlantic City or like doing all those engagements, like at the level that she's at just because I love working hard. It just doesn't compute for me because to me, for me, if I am that on that level and I've made, so much success for myself, I would use that as an opportunity to be extremely judicious about the jobs and the gigs that I do take. I'm not going to be taking everything and saying yes to everything.
Well, and I think I would also look at my life and think like, okay, I have only have this amount of time left on the planet, like this amount of time like feeling
Mhm.
healthy. How do I really want to live and how do I want to spend that time? And I have 4 children and like as much as someone might call this mom shaming, like you can't tell me that working at that pace isn't detracting from her ability to be spending a lot of time with her kids. And that's just like the reality.
I think they sort of tease this in the next episode, but her talking about how, her house is sort of chaotic and it's hard for her to say no. I'm interested to see how that plays out in the next few episodes.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I don't actually know how much time she spends with her kids, but I feel like if I was of that level of success, I would be like, okay, I want to be as healthy as possible,
Hmm.
and I want to spend my life in the most judicious, meaningful way possible. But I think what it is, in my opinion, and it's what's driven Kim from the beginning, is Kim wants to be on top in like the fame sense. Like she wants the spotlight and I think she
Hmm.
knows that eventually like it's going to go away. You know, like
Yeah.
no one really can be at her level for forever. There's going to be
Right.
someone else that takes her place. I honestly think the Kardashians as a whole are already on the descent compared to where they've been in the past.
Hmm.
And so maybe it's just like a desperate clinging to the spotlight.
Yeah. I just think she could still stay relevant if, like, by doing other things besides American Horror Story. I guess it just feels like she wants to do so much in every sector. I just can't imagine that all of that is like filling her cup.
Yeah, and but I think that the difference between us and Kim Kardashian, not that they're kind of fill books with the differences, but one of them is work ethic. Like honestly, she just has like a
Absolutely.
way higher work ethic than us, so we just
I
cannot
think
relate at all.
no, we truly can't relate, and I do think there are people, I'm sure maybe even people listening, who love working, who love being busy. I'm not that person at all.
Right? Exactly.
I do like being medium busy. I don't like being completely empty, schedule responsibility wise. I do think that like leads me to feel more anxious and bored, but I do not like being super busy at all.
No, you definitely do not. I have learned that working with you.
I mean, do you like being
Okay.
busy?
I don't know. I don't
I
think
like
I've
being
ever been true.
productive.
I definitely feel like I can thrive a little more on busyness than you.
I mean, if we literally look at the Kate Middleton example, I think you do thrive way more in those scenarios than I do.
But, like, that whole scenario, it was born out of, like, wanting to make the most out of an opportunity, whereas I just
Hmm.
feel like if I was Kim, I would need more opportunities on some level.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I would
Yeah.
be trying to look at my life in a much more holistic way, and how I spent my time. Okay, so news, everyone. Natalie Portman and Paul Mescal were pictured together, flirty, chatty, they're smoking cigarettes. I didn't know vegan, healthy Natalie smokes. That was news to me. But anyway, I think that, this comes off the heels of her divorce from Benjamin Millepied, and not Millipede, as I called it on the podcast, and I got roasted on TikTok. People were like, did she just call Benjamin Millepied Benjamin Millepied? Sorry, everyone. Okay, it's been a minute since I've spent time in Yale, Paris. But anyway, everyone, yes, her husband stepped out with a 25-year-old dancer. And look who's getting her revenge, okay? We see Natalie living her best life with Paul Mescal. I did have to ask Chandler who Paul Mescal was.
Yeah, and so yeah, Lauren, you don't know about him, and that's okay. You didn't watch Normal People, I take it.
Wait, can I just say I did not? And what's funny about this is I told Chrissy when I was saying what we should talk about this week, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, she's dating somebody named Paul Mescal. Can you maybe jot down in the outline who that is? And anyway, on this, she says, he's a 28-year-old Irish actor who seems to be the current it boy. Oh, okay. I just don't really know who the current it boy is. That's kind of embarrassing.
You absolutely don't, and it is embarrassing. Well, it's funny because I don't think that he's like so indie or so like out of the ether. But guess to you he is. You should watch Normal People. It's a really good show. I think you would love it. It's
I tried
scripted.
to get through the book, but I couldn't.
Yeah, don't ignore the book. Sally
Okay.
Rooney's writings are a different thing than the shows based on it, and it's so much better than Conversations with Friends, with which everyone will remember is the train wreck that Joe Alwyn was in.
I had a huge reckoning when I found out that Sally Rooney was younger than me. That was like
Mhm.
very difficult for me.
I'm
And she's like a
sure.
very esteemed writer.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think she's like a year younger than me. That's like a fun thing as you get older. It's like there are suddenly like these much more accomplished, more successful people are also younger than you.
Well,
Anyway, that's what I have to offer about the situation, other than I'm happy for Natalie.
I don't think they're dating for what it's worth. I do think these pictures are suspect, but I don't think that they're like dating. So let me just say that I don't think this is confirmed, but I think they do appear to be giggling quite hard together. And yeah, I didn't know she smoked cigarettes either. This kind of screams he went out for a smoke and he asked her if she wanted to join, and because she maybe has a crush on him, she said yes. And so she's having a smoke with him.
Okay, so you're being ageist right now because you
Yeah,
don't think that
100%.
that he would be into her.
Absolutely. There's no way. No, of course he'd be into her. She's like every guy's like a celebrity crush. She's like
No,
Ben's
I
celebrity
agree.
crush, everybody's. And yeah, and they did a like actors on actors interview with each other, and he was very praised. He gave her a lot of praise. She gave him a lot of praise. It was cute. But that was like a year ago, and now, they're what are they doing to? Are they filming something? Okay, so it looks like, Lauren, these photos were taken when they were, enjoying an evening out drinking. So I thought they were maybe at some type of business engagement, maybe an actors summit or an actors conference, and then they were taking a smoke break. But it looks like they were potentially out on a dinner date in London.
So they were fully on a date.
Maybe.
I
And
love
I would
this for
ship the two of
Natalie.
them. Yeah, I absolutely ship the two of them. I think he's super cute. He's really darling in Normal People. He used to date Phoebe Bridgers. I get nothing but good vibes from him. Yeah, it's pretty cute.
He has a really cute Irish accent because I did watch a TikTok video in preparation for this episode doing my homework, everyone. And
Mhm.
he is a snack for sure. So
You
very happy for Natalie.
you need to watch Normal People. You should absolutely watch it. I also love this for Natalie. I think that I'm into them together, especially because I think Phoebe Bridgers moved on pretty quickly to Bo Burnham after her and Paul had been together for I think a couple of years and were maybe
Oh,
even
wow.
reportedly engaged. So
Mm.
I don't know. I felt a little sad for him. So anyway, I'm hopeful.
I am hopeful for this couple as well. And I think that I definitely think it's like it's what she needs. She needs some good, young, fresh sex. Okay.
Ugh, I knew you
To,
were going there. I knew you were going there. Ugh.
well, yeah. She needs to be rejuvenated. She needs to be revived, okay? And I am happy for her. This is exactly what she needs for this moment. I don't know if this is going to be the one, but it doesn't need to be the one. You don't always need
Right.
the one.
We don't need him to be stepdad. We don't need
We
stepdaddy
don't.
Paul. We don't need that. Like, and just
He,
save this to smoking cigarettes outside of a bar, for a little dalliance.
he doesn't need to
Dalliance?
be the stepdad. He can just be Natalie's daddy. Okay? Um,
And with that, let's move on.
let's move on. Okay, everyone. Well, actually, before we move on to the other thing in the outline, I have to tell you, Did you see that Ilaria and Alec Baldwin, Chandler,
Ugh.
will be starring in a reality show on TLC about their lives?
This is how I know that, big celebrity news is hitting because Ben sent me an article about this from work.
Well, I personally will be watching every second of this because, of course, I want to know if she's going to be talking in the Spanish accent. That's going to be like the thing we're all, I think, waiting with bated breath for, which I think
Mhm.
also it's a yes, she will be. I think she's like Dorit. Like she's had a fake accent for so long. Just the way she speaks.
And right, it's who she
But
is.
it's who she is. But for me, it's like, wow, are we entering an economic downturn, like a recession? Like Alec Baldwin is going to be colleagues with Kody Brown? Like
Or John Gosselin. He's joining the likes of John Gosselin.
TLC is the most low rent programming. If you notice, people, all TLC shows, 50% of them is content from the previous episode where they replay things. Okay. Like when they do previews and rewinds, that's almost 50% of the content. You get such little new content from each episode. It's the cheapest programming. And if you look at everyone who has starred in a TLC program, their lives never improve financially. They're at the same place they started 20 years later. Look at where Janelle Brown lives. Okay. And that's all you got to know. And
I
so
am so excited for this show. I as well will be watching. I mean, maybe I should have like a watch party or something because this is going to be fantastic TV. I mean, let's also just call a spade a spade. They're definitely taking this TV show deal for the check that it is. I don't know if this is for extra fame.
okay, and also, this is like the darkest thing to say, but when they showed the preview of the
I
7
haven't watched.
children, oh my gosh, the preview of the 7 children, it is birth control for a lifetime, and that's so rude, but it's
Oh,
just complete
wow.
and utter chaos. And I think feel like I've heard like Dumois horror stories from people who've been their nannies, but it's extreme. It's extreme.
Woof.
Love and light, I appreciate we grew up in a large family, but I think it's because there's such a dignified spacing in ages. It was never like 5, 6 year olds crawling all over each other.
Right, right. Wow. I need to go watch the preview. I haven't seen it.
Like I actually think that's what made our upbringing have like some sort of dignity to it. It's like each of us
Dignity.
had like a remove. No, truly, like because it was like almost 4 years, 4 to 5 years between each person. No one was like screaming and all over each other because we all were kind of like too far removed. There was just a little
Yeah,
bit
that's
like
true.
a remove between us. And
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
7 very young children.
Well, I think it's also 7. I'm sorry, 7. Courtney has 4 kids. Like, I know the sound of 4 kids in a house. I cannot imagine doubling that.
That's probably it. That's probably also at 7. I can't wait to watch. Chandler, I also can't wait to chat with you next time on Patreon. We'll be on Patreon this Friday. Very exciting. Love you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Chandler.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on Friday.
See you on Friday. Bye.
Bye.
That's all for now, folks. Don't forget, give us a 5-star review, hit us up on Instagram at Popapologists, and we will see you next week, live every Wednesday.